Stay in the know with San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.1 FM on Facebook, Twitter, Tinder, and Instagram.
Welcome back. It's halftime with Mike Jimenez on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, AM 1250. We're on the go at sasportstar.com. We've got Carolina Teague with us to talk about the Spurs. The Spurs have lost 5 games in a row, 10 of the last 11. The season is going as we originally thought. But tonight, the Spurs are back in action at the AT&T Center, taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson is in town. I've got Carolina Teague with me. Carolina, happy early Thanksgiving. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm getting ready for my Thanksgiving, getting my cheesecake ready, and just getting ready to eat all this delicious food and spending time with my family tomorrow, getting to watch the Cowboys game. I'm excited.
I cannot wait. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. Thanksgiving and Halloween, I'll take that all day, every day over Christmas. Don't get me wrong, I love Christmas, but Thanksgiving is really where it's all at for me. But Carolina Teague is our Spurs insider, and you and I have been battling it out for the past 3 months or so regarding the direction of this team. And we called it team play-in versus team tank. And then later on, because I believe it was Devin Vassell who said we hoopin', so it was team hoopin' versus team. Spurs have lost 10 out of 11. Okay, it is looking like it's going to be a bleak season the rest of the way. Are you ready to take a seat next to me, right next to me on Team Tank?
No, I will never take a seat next to you, Jimenez. I'm going to die on this team, produce well hill for the rest of my life. I want them to do better. I'm not going to force them to want to tank. Even though it looks like they will, I'm still going to be team playing for the rest of my life. Like, you cannot make me waver. Even if we get past December, I will still not waver in my non-team tank. And I need you to try to maybe encourage me if you really like to, but having me on team tank doesn't benefit you guys in any type of way. I think you've been holding down your fort really well, and I've been holding down my team play-in fort very, very well as well.
Yeah, people came at me on Twitter earlier today because they're trying to tell me that the Spurs don't need a top 5 pick in order to make a run and be relevant in the NBA. They're like, Nikola Jokic was a second rounder. And you take a look at other teams like Giannis was in the mid-teens, and Kawhi Leonard, before he got hurt all those times, was in the mid-teens. And I keep on telling people, I understand where you're coming from. You don't want your team to lose. No one wants your team to lose like over the long haul. It's very difficult to do so. It's like cheering against one of your kids. But I was like, you got to take a look at 50 years worth of evidence here to show that you need to have a top 5 player to actually be relevant and be a championship contender. Because I go back in time and I'm like, okay, where was Magic Johnson picked? Where was Larry Bird? Isaiah Thomas? After that, you had Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan. You go to Shaq. You go to Tim Duncan, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. Guess what? All those guys, top 5 picks. Every single one of them. I know Curry was like 7, right? It's an anomaly. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is that you need a top 5 pick to be relevant. Spurs don't have one.
I mean, you really don't. I mean, there's also been horrible draft picks of all time, like Kwame Brown.
I get that, but get those out of your system. There have been bad number 10 picks, 11 picks, 12 picks. There's been bad picks at every spot. Darko Milicic was number 2. Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. I get that. But the evidence shows that more often than not, like 9 times out of 10, not including Steph Curry, you need to have top talent to win. You can't thread the needle, because even though you thread the needle with the Pistons back in 2004, Chauncey Billups was a top 5 pick. Join me on this side, Carolina.
No, I'm not going to join you on the side, because even if you have a top 5 pick, if your picker is trash and your team cannot make the right decisions, then who's to say that they're going to be successful? Now, the perfect example is the Spurs. They had Tim Duncan, so you probably would want to debate me on that. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen with whatever top pick that the Spurs may get. Not only that, they also have that 14% slim pickings chance of making it to the top, even if they do tank. So why take that risk, and why purposefully tank if it's going to lead them that direction? Now, if the Spurs were just horrific, and they really genuinely got themselves to the bottom, okay, then we can have that conversation about who they're going to pick as the top 5 if they were able to get that in the lottery. But until then, until we get to that bridge, then let's have that conversation at that point. But right now, it's too early in the season. You see how angry these players are getting when you guys even mention the word tank right next to their names. So give them some grace and let them have fun. Let them play. Let them try to make these wins. And I think, personally, the Spurs have been a victim of unfortunate circumstances, too. I mean, they've had illnesses. They've had a little bit of injuries. Coach Pop was out recently, too. They haven't really had the healthiest team. And so I say allow them some grace.
Well, first of all, if you're going to try to get one of the top spots or the odds to get a top spot, you got to practice. You got to do this early. You can't wait till February to tank and have 10 more wins than the Orlando Magic. That is not going to work. But you brought up the question, or the point rather, that it's all about who you pick, right? Yeah. And you know that I've gone back and forth with people about that because the Spurs have had some success, a lot of success when it comes to drafting certain players. You know, whether it be David Robinson was like a no-brainer. Sean Elliott at 3 in 1989. Drafting Tim Duncan, no-brainer. Parker in the late 20s and Ginobili in the 50s. And then you go on to DeJounte Murray, who was an all-star at 29, Keldon Johnson at 29. The Spurs have had some success, but they've also had failures along the way. And you take a look at the last. You know what? That's a him thing. That's a him thing.
Well, it was a him thing. It was a him thing, but at the end of the day, they still picked him at number 12.
It wasn't a talent thing. That was a personal thing. And I'm glad that he's gone, but the fact of the matter is that it's kind of hard to put him in the same vein as Luka Samanic, for example. Mm-hmm. But Jeremy Sohan, though, I'm still not 100% sold. I'm leaning in that direction, but I'm not 100% sold. And he had an interview yesterday with the media where he was talking about 3-point shooting, okay? And I've been on this because this was the elephant in the room I spotted a long time ago. It's like, why is he shooting the ball? And he keeps saying, he said it again yesterday, I'm going to keep firing away. I know I'm at 15%. I'm going to keep firing away. Do you know how many 3-pointers he's made ever since I brought this up on sasportstar.com and I brought it up on this show? How many has he made?
Because I know I don't know. I'm sure you're keeping track of him.
He's made none. 0. Ever since.
How many has he attempted?
Since then, 6. He's 6 for 39 on the season. Dude,
6.
You are a Bulls fan. You grew up as a Bulls fan, right?
Yes, I did.
He shot a 3-pointer the other day. It looked like Bill Cartwright trying to shoot a free throw. It was
Luke Longley trying to shoot a free throw.
It was a shot put over there. But I'm trying to bring you on to the dark side here and get that team tank. Sohan, I'm not 100% sold on, but I'm leaning that way because if they can find a way to have him be part of the offense, the problem is that I don't think he fits well with Poeltl. I like what Poeltl's bringing to the table. Poeltl is a tier 2 center, but you can't have 2 players out there who can't shoot a jumper, and you can't have 2 of them. So one's got to go at some point. Right or wrong?
Got to go forever, or got to go from the rotation? Just being together on the floor.
Together on the floor. You got to have at least 4 shooters out there. You can't have 3-on-5 basketball out there. Now, I like the way that they could both rebound, they could both finish and get putbacks. I get that, but you can't have 2 players out there who cannot make a bucket outside of 10 feet.
I have to agree with you on that because you can't. If you're going to keep the lead and you're going to keep the game going, you're going to have shooters on the team at all times. Now, Jeremy Sohan is great on the defensive end, but like you said, he hasn't shown you how he feels from the 3-point line. But let me say this, Jimenez, some of the best improved 3-point shooters, there's a top 5 list that I read an article about. Some of the best improved 3-point shooters, one of them, a top 5, is LaMarcus Aldridge. And he improved on his 3-point shooting when he played with the Spurs. Look at how Jeremy Sohan has been thrown to the wolves. He's had this whole sink or swim thing since he started with the Spurs. He was a starter from the very beginning, which has been unheard of with the San Antonio Spurs since the Tim Duncan era. I also think there should be some wiggle room for his three-point shot as well, because if he can improve like a LaMarcus Aldridge did, now granted they're different positions, but if he can improve drastically, then why be so tough on him so early on? He only made 6 shots attempts, made 0.
And that's the thing.
I feel like you're being a little bit too hard on him right now, and that's why he liked your tweet, Jimenez. That is why, because he took it as a challenge.
I hope so.
And
I hope so. I hope that I am some sort of inspiration when it comes to that. But the thing is that people think that I'm after him. No, that was actually a comment directed at the Spurs because, like you said, they threw him to the Wolves. Yes. It is unfair what they did because he was not a traditional number 9 pick in the draft. Yes, he was the number 9 pick in the lottery, but the fact of the matter was that he was unpolished when he was drafted. It's unfair to him to be put in this situation where you're going out there shooting a bunch of 3-pointers and you have no form and no Chip England there to coach you up. It's unfair to him. So if it comes off like I'm being mean to him, I apologize for that. But I'm not apologizing for the fact that he has a very difficult looking shot. It looks awkward from outside, deadly from inside, awkward from outside. And I fear that his confidence might waver a little bit if it just keeps on continuing. Get him back inside and no more 3-pointers. That's all I'm saying. For his sake.
It sounds like, the things that you're saying, it's one of those things with the Spurs. If you're going to blame them, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. Everybody always criticizes the Spurs because they put all their players through the G League first, and they always get assigned to the Austin Spurs, and they never get to start right away as other teams do, like, for example, Zion Williamson or something like that. They never get that opportunity, and they get heavily criticized for that. But then you have players like Jeremy Sohan for the first time in so many years. He gets thrown to the Wolves as a starter. I like the whole sink or swim mentality with my life, and when it applies to the Spurs too. I'd rather the Spurs do the sink or swim thing, because in life, in basketball, in any aspect, you either sink or you swim. Now, he's barely started. He's only a few months into his NBA career. Yes, he's going to sink or swim when it comes to these 3-pointers, but we have yet to determine whether he's improved or not. He could be like a LaMarcus Aldridge. We don't know. But what I do know about Jeremy Sohan is I'm keeping track of his wins and losses with each of his hair colors throughout the season. And I also know that he criticized Russell Westbrook, and I did not like that Russell Westbrook threw the ball in his face. I just want to make that clear.
Well, they got Westbrook twice this week. Because after this game, back-to-back home games against the Lakers. Real fast, I'm taking a look, talking to Carolina Teague, our Spurs insider, I'm taking a look at the top 6 scorers among rookies this year in the NBA. They were drafted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because they had complete games. Paolo Banchero, averaging 23.5 points per game, has a complete game. Benedict Mathurin for the Pacers, averaging 19 points per game. We all knew he had a complete game. Jaden Ivey with the Pistons, averaging 16 points and 5 rebounds and 4 assists. We knew it. Keegan Murray, Jabari Smith Jr. It's almost as though top picks are better talent. It's almost as though if the Spurs had not made the play-in tournament last year and maybe had some more ping pong balls, they'd be better off with a Jaden Ivey at point guard or a Paolo Banchero at the 3. Just saying.
Or it could also mean that the teams that had later round picks have better shooters, therefore they're getting more shots on their end, and they're not rookies, and the people who are part of bad teams need shooters, so therefore their rookies are taking more shots and they're doing a lot more better. That's what that could mean too.
That is Carolina Teague, our Spurs insider, fighting like brother and sister at Thanksgiving. Thanks for being with us, Carolina.
Thanks, big bro. I'll see you later. Happy Thanksgiving.